Hey family. Movie review. Listen, I'm going to describe this with as least detail insofar as the plot, the characters, and everything like that, because I don't want to spoil it for you. If you want to see it, if you haven't already. It's been out for some time, though. I want to say it was released in the late 90s. And it was a Hollywood movie based on, of course, the so interesting Stephen King and his imagination. This movie is called The Storm of the Century, I believe was the name. And it's about this island, like off the northeast coast of the United States. I can't remember if it was like Maine or somewhere in that area. It was a little island town. And the storm was coming, so, okay, I'm going to look at my notes while I give you the backdrop, all right? So here's this little, like, how do you say, very close-knit, that's a good way to put it. I mean, if you're living on an island, you don't have any, like, well, as they say, they're very good at keeping secrets. Now, in this town, this town that was coming for, this storm was coming for this town dead on, and they were saying it's going to be the storm of the century. So the movie kind of sets out with everybody in town battening down the hatches and preparing to go to this central place of refuge, something called a community center, to weather out the storm with rations and, emergency kind of supplies and contingencies and, these kinds of things, right? So, well, just as the storm is approaching, arrives this character, and I don't even care what his name was in the movie, but it's a character that's basically meant to represent one of the sort of, you could say, demigods or fallen angels or demiurge or I don't know. You can use your imagination. So it's some sort of a character that's seeking to have domination and control, basically. And because it has no sort of direct connection to the Great Spirit through the Corona chakra, that it's because it's like, say, fallen angel, for instance, it's separated itself from the source. So it seeks to incarnate in another being, if you will. And then this manifestation or this being shows up just as they were. So the storm wasn't just yet upon them. They probably were down to like 24 hours or something. They hadn't sounded the alarm yet. But just as they were preparing for this, here comes at this opportune moment of vulnerability that the collective is feeling, somewhat vulnerable. Because if you're just a little island and here comes a big old hurricane, that might just wipe out everything on the island, right? So anyhow, here comes this character, and he shows up on the doorstep of an elderly lady who was sitting inside having a cup of tea and watching the Idiot Box. And I don't recall what was on the Idiot Box playing in the background, but there's all these kinds of the television itself plays a character in this movie. I'm not even kidding you. So pay attention to what's scrolling on the screen or what's appearing on the screen. It's not just a backdrop. You pay attention to what's on the screen. That'll tell you a lot. And this evil sort of demon demiurge character manifests on this old lady's porch and rings the doorbell. And she comes to the door, and I don't know if that's when it started singing the song, or at some point we started in with this song in the background, in the movie in the background, and you could hear that song, I'm a Little Teapot, right? And if you're not familiar with that, that's a fairly sort of English / colonial America, if you will, kind of, well, they call it a children's song, and it's complete with the hand movements and everything. So like you're saying, you're holding one hand here and the other one, you're saying, I'm a little teacup, short and stout. Here's my handle and here's my spout. When you tip me over, you can pour me out. And so this is, I never really liked that. Oh, my dragon friend is here. Hello. I dare not turn the video around because, can I do that? He will run. Let me see if I can catch this dragon. Well, maybe some other time. We'll do a whole separate video of dragons. Yes. He's beautiful though. I wish I could see him. And anyhow, this nursery rhyme, which makes an allegorical reference to the teapot, is you're saying that I'm just a teapot, like I'm just a container for the spirit, and you're meant to like tip me over and pour me out for the purpose of consuming me. This is a big allegorical reference that's made throughout the movie, because you'll hear that song playing many times. And let's see, so the demon guy bashes the lady and kills her. That's his first victim that he kills. And in some manner that the guy shows up and finds this lady dead at the house, or somebody reported it or whatever, and they're like, well, it's clearly murder, so we have a murderer on the loose just as the storm is getting ready to hit. That's the perception of the people in the town, but rather another way to perceive it would be to say, the storm is, well, like we covered in the video, La Tormenta, the storm within, as above, so below, as within, so without, that you attract this at this moment of vulnerability, right? You become, well, more susceptible to like psychic attacks, you could say, or as depicted in the movie, a real life murderer loose on your island just as the storm's getting ready to blow through. So just skip to the next sort of part of the movie that all right, so he goes on this sort of killing spree, and they capture him and put him in jail, but he's manipulating people outside of the jail cell to commit murder, to commit suicide, and he's getting people to continue to write a message everywhere saying, quote unquote, give me what I want and I will go away. So remember, it's repeated again and again and again. So remember, repeat the lie often enough. Repeat the lie often enough, and it becomes the truth. So, anyway, you see this repeated throughout the movie. And so they all want to know, what do you want? What do you want? Because it was just like, okay, now they're all, by this time the storm is arriving. They're all under the same, and they spent the first night under the same roof of the community center where they were battening down to weather the storm. And so they were all under one roof, having one, like, it's so easy. If you're going to psychically attack somebody in the dream world, and like a collective, and feed on a collective, right? You just do, it's best whoever's under the same roof, right? It's the easiest, right? Because it's like, I don't know how you want to explain that. But all the consciousness that's under that one roof is melding in the nighttime dream. It's all under that one roof. And so the demon character programs the dream of these people, for all the people in the community center to have these various different versions of the horrible dream of that their island was not going to make it, that it was going to be, and there's this other reference, I believe, in the movie, which is not just a reference but for you to just wink at, but it's a real life case of this. Where the town is gonna, like, well, it just basically suffice to say that everyone in the town will be dead. Was the dream that this demon character programmed into all the dreams of the people who are sleeping in the community center. So they all got freaked out, right? They're all freaked out by their dream. They're all having that programmed into the field, right? As a possibility of what's happening. So they all become convinced that, of course, this is going to happen. If we don't, what? Give him what he wants. So the community. So first of all, the very fact that the demon shows up, the torment, the storm is showing up, is because of this moment of vulnerability, and it's because the storm is coming to clean, right? To wipe away all the facades and clear all the masks and expose us for what we really are. And that was the theme of this movie, right? So little secrets kept coming out, and this demon guy knew, because he had access to apparently what they call the Akashic records, or whatever you want to call it, that he could see things in people's timeline and things that they were ashamed of, and play upon that, like fill in the blank. I mean, I'm not going to go into details and stuff, but he could look into the timeline and find another moment of vulnerability within the individual's timeline by saying out loud, "Oh, I remember you," as he's being paraded off to jail, right? This demon character, and he's like, "Oh, such and such and so and so, aren't you growing marijuana in your garden now for," or whatever. And the community's like, because this movie, it was back in the 90s and stuff, so it's like, "Oh, you're growing marijuana? Oh my gosh." And exposing people's secrets, right? The things that they feel ashamed about, the things that they feel, shame, blame, guilt, woulda, coulda, shoulda, the baggage. Remember, we talked about the baggage that we go into, that it's likely that we go into unless we make a conscious decision not to. But this baggage that we carry with us into the cosmic midnight hour, which has, oftentimes deleterious effects on the various different soul contracts that you would sign up for ideally. Like, I don't know, just baggage weighs you down. So he's playing, so this demon character, after these they're already scared of the storm. Now he's terrorizing them. "Oh, we got a murderer loose on the island." and and then they catch him, and then he starts spitting out all these people's deepest, darkest secrets in front of everybody, right? It's like, I don't know. Check it out and tell me what you think, because this again is a vulnerability. If it's not something that if our heart is not as light as a feather, without blame, shame, guilt, woulda, coulda, shoulda, all this, well then yeah, that's a very vulnerable state to be in, right? Very easily manipulated. Your reality and your perception of your reality is going to be, a little twisted, if you will. So yeah, so here he comes, this guy, and they're putting him in jail, this demon guy. And he starts, mind controlling people, and they're all having the same dream now. And so everybody's convinced, because of the control through the fear, right? The fear, the blame, the shame, the woulda, coulda, shoulda, all the dark secrets, right? All the things that we don't want other people to know, because, we feel ashamed about them or whatever. So then all the community here says, so here's where we get the thread of the collective good and the group think, the dangerous crowd mentality, right? Because it's controlled by fear. It's like mass psychosis, but it's trauma-based psychosis. And so they all, there's only one guy. That's right. There's only one guy in the whole community that's willing to stand up and say, no, we should not negotiate with this individual, because he's telling you to give me what, look at the words that's written all over that. This is how I would have handled it if I was the hero of the story, but that wasn't part of the script. And I would have said, don't be fooled by the trickery of a demon. That here he's saying, give me what I want and I will go away. Right. So first of all, give me what I want. Now, who's going to give me what? A child. Right? Who's going to give me a child? Is the child mine to give? Careful now, moms and dads. Of course it's my son or my daughter. I gave birth to them. Yes, but they are not yours. They are not your possession, your property, your whatever. It's their own individual spirit with their own individual soul contract, and definitely their own free will choice. Just saying. And that right there is the deal breaker right there. If you guys want to flip the script and get this demon out of here without giving him what he wants, that's how we do it. We say, well, Mr. Demon, sorry, we will not be tricked into violating natural law. We will not be coerced through fear into violating the free will choice of one of these children, and we're going to democratically decide or draw sticks or whoever decide whose kid gets put on the chopping block against his free will choice and against the free will choice of the parents. That's how you get around the demon. That's how you tell the demon that's how you laugh and say, look, drop the shovel and step away from the hole, because I understand natural law. And I understand that why you're here, Mr. Demon, on this island is for a reason. I get it. So, but as for me, I'm not going to open the door and invite you across the threshold, and I'm certainly not going to listen to the way you twist words and infiltrate people's vibe, if you will, to and their dream to make them live in a state of fear so that they can be coerced, you know, to do whatever. Just please, not just don't, whatever. It's for the collective good. It's for the safety and security of all the community. So it's saying like the collective, all the souls within this collective community that all had their secrets to hide, and all this, right? That saving their skin was so important that they would be willing to sacrifice a child and collectively agree to do so. Of course you're going to collectively agree to it, because if you did it individually, you would say not just no, but hell no. But if you feel like there's others to share the blame with you, well then sure, go for it. Why not? But look, that's how I would have acted if I was in that script. It would have had a totally different outcome, that movie. And I would have wrote the script to say, don't let this deception trick you. Don't let this. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. Don't be intimidated. Just go back to natural law. Keep it simple. It does it. If you're asking me to make a decision and I'm on the fence spot, it's a really hard decision, yo. I'm just going to come back down to 5-year-old logic, and I'm going to say, does this decision violate natural law or does it not? Because that's the decider for me, right? If it does violate natural law, then I know that's not in the long term the best choice to make. So, that's what I would have said. Does this choice that you're Mr. Demon is telling us that we have to make a decision, give me what I want and I will go away? Well, it's not mine to give you. So right there, just throw another riddle at it, family. Reverse engineer the shit. Flip the script. And and then the rest of his sentence said, and I will go away. Well, you know what? If I'm going to be asked to make the sacrifice of a child, and you're just going to say I'm going to go away, bro, I need to be a little bit more specific about that, because I want you to say, and I will go away forever. But you don't. You just say I will go away. You could go away for I don't know, a month, a day, a year, a decade, until the next storm of the century. Maybe 100 years you'll be back. I don't know, to terrorize us again. But you see, that's how but when you're in a state of fear, you're not going to look at those obvious things and say, hey, does this violate? But of course, if you're not familiar with natural law, then you wouldn't have any basis upon which to fall, or rather not fall, but stand upon firmly in knowingness, to know that you're not actually going to create more vulnerability for yourself, but rather you stand in sovereignty and in accordance with natural law. And so this demon cannot violate natural law unless he gets you, the community, to agree to, they are the one that did it. They held this ritual and they drew straws, and guess whose kid was the shortest straw? It was the hero of the movie. And he ended up, anyway, I won't. But also, there's one more reference I wanted to make in this movie, and it has to do with the son. So when this child was sacrificed or given to the demon, that it was a boy child. Because why a boy? Because a boy is a phallic. He's he's the masculine that goes out into the world and moves and shifts and shakes and creates and manifests. And he's also represents the sun, S-O-N represents the S-U-N, like the Son of God or the Jesus character, right? So it's represent the light of the world, right? And so, yeah, like they're saying here, we will sacrifice the light of the world for an unknown number of moments, years, maybe decades of you not coming back. And so it's very rhetorical to say that so it's very ironic, rhetorically ironic. Here comes the wind. It's ironic because they're saying, oh yes, we have the right to violate natural law because the collective mob rule says that's what we're going to do. And it's for the collective, but then at the same time losing sight of the collective that follows the generations that follow them. Like, and anyway, you guys, we didn't come here to save the skin suits. It's not a matter of the length of the life. It's a matter of the quality and the exploration of myself and the journey of my soul, and the not the hiding, but rather the facing of who I am and what I'm capable of. So anyway, it's an interesting movie. I recommend. I didn't read the book, but I'm sure the book's always better. Always better. The book is always better than the movie. So that's going to be the movie review on the Holly Weird movie called The Storm of the Century. And I believe it was roughly somewhere in the 1990s that movie was released. I recommend you have a look at it and watch out for these things in between. These little signs that they drop in there. Look at the movie with discernment and a knowingness and a recognition of symbols and patterns, and even especially the idiot box. Oh my God, it was pretty good, well-directed movie, but I would have just had a different ending. I would have kicked that demon out and made sure he didn't come back. Ever. Yeah. But anyway, that's what I just wanted to share that with you. I hope you found that to be a blessing, and I'm sure there's other stuff that if you watch with a different set of eyes, you can find other things in there too. So I'll leave that with you now, family, and till we speak again. Ciao for now.